Hello, everyone, and welcome to the VR Creator Club. Today's speaker is going to be Robert. He's from Thrive Pavilion, and it's a VR community for older people to socialize and um, actually uh, negate the impacts of social isolation. That's why I put that up there. So, with those announcements out of the way, please welcome Robert to the stage. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, thank you very much. Thanks. It's great to
Thank you.
opportunity to talk to you guys about Thrive. So I'll give you a little bit of background about myself, and we certainly can make this interactive. We got a decent crowd here. I know some of you, which is nice, and or knew some of you. Don't see them right now. Here they come. But we'll go through. What I'm going to do is just kind of go through a couple of slides that explains Thrive and the why of Thrive. Look at a video that we had produced earlier in 2024 that really does a great job of explaining everything about it. So I'm sharing my desktop and I'm going to see if I move on to the next slide and hopefully the screen changes. Yeah, it does. So I'll give a little bit of background about myself. So I've been in technology and software development in high tech my entire career. And during the pandemic, I was a chief product officer for a company that made software that went into continuing care retirement communities. So that's where older adults may go to live. They may be living independently, just like an apartment, and they don't want to, cook and clean anymore, trying to do sort of those things, all the way through like assisted living and memory care is kind of how the senior living industry would classify what they would call continuing care retirement communities. One of the big reasons why an older adult may move into a community like that is that it has a great built in social network. It has activities, it has people of a similar age, and just a way to connect with people and stay connected as people tend to get older. Their social networks and diminish, get smaller. People move, pass away, lose friends, family moves. We're so our family doesn't stick around in the same place where we may have raised them and things like that, which definitely was true for me. But what happened during the pandemic, as making the software that helped all these communities kind of have their residents connect with one another, what we noticed was when the pandemic happened, all that socialization stopped. So that means that even though you were living in an apartment, maybe next to, just as we all lived through the pandemic and social isolation, you were not able to. The communities were no longer able to do their social programs and things like that. And during the pandemic, the same thing happened to me. So I have family that lives far away. My At the time, I live in North Carolina, but I have a daughter who at that time was living in San Diego. I have a son that lives in Helsinki, Finland. So we were really isolated from them. And we started, with my daughter in particular, started to use VR as a way for myself and her to interact and socialize and do things. And one evening I was playing, I forget the name of the game, Cookout, I think it was. We were making sandwiches and having a good time and laughing. And my wife heard what we were doing. And I took the headset off. And probably the group here would be, all has kind of similar stories. Well, I took the headset off. My wife said, "Wow, what were you doing? It sounded like you were having a lot of fun." And she wanted to participate and see what was going on. So luckily, I had an older Rift. So I got on my Rift. I let my wife borrow my Quest 2 at the time, and all three of us were playing, and we had a great time that night. And after we were done, my wife took her headset off and said, um, I know my daughter wasn't there. I know Emily wasn't there, but it sure felt like she was." And that's kind of when the light bulb sort of went off. So what I realized was we were coming out of the pandemic at that time. It was late 2021. But what I realized was there's still a lot of older adults in the United States and certainly around the world, but in the United States that will remain socially isolated. So even though for many of us, the world got back to what we had the ability now to get out and socialize with our friends, there's still a huge segment of the population, particularly that are older, that will remain isolated, that don't live in continuing care retirement communities, which really only represents about 5% of the U.S. population. over the age of 65 actually can move into retirement communities. So it means there's 95% of folks that are living independently on their own. And that's kind of where it gave my family the idea, okay, hey, let's see if what we learned during the pandemic and what we're doing personally and professionally, obviously, could make a difference in the lives of older adults. And that's why we founded the Thrive Pavilion. So the here's really the background on the problem. About 1 in 4 older adults, which are over the age of 65, are socially isolated. So that's about 7.5 million Americans over the age of 65 that are isolated. And when we look at what is there a cost to this, not only is there a physical and emotional cost, but there's a financial cost as well. The AARP Public Policy Institute estimates that it costs about $6.7 billion a year in additional Medicare costs and treating the things that are caused by physical social isolation. There's a lot of physical health issues, and certainly, the Surgeon General of the United States put out an advisory saying that isolation can be dangerous. And certainly, I think we've all experienced that during the pandemic, but it continues for many people in the aging adult population. So, what is Thrive? Okay, yeah, it's working. So, we are a virtual reality community that promotes social connection and friendships and overall well being for adults that choose to age in place. Um, we had mentioned, overcoming. We talked about social isolation on the last slide, but our members really don't look at it that way. What they're looking for, what they get out of it, is they have fun, they have laughter, they build friendships. That's what they're doing when they're with other people at Thrive. They're not thinking about, oh, I'm lonely and this is helping me overcome negative health aspects. They're not thinking about it that way. But in reality, that's what's happening. So we are we were founded in April of 2022. We have about 2,000 members, and that is growing. Just a little bit of the demographics of the people that are involved with it. They are aged 50 to 85. So if you were to come to an event, and anybody is certainly welcome, we're not ageist that way. You are welcome to join us, no matter what your age is. But you will notice most of the people that are activities are in their 60s and 70s. Some of them are even in their 80s. About 60% are retired. When we talked about the reasons why people are isolated, only about 25, 23%, 25% actually have a health condition. So that may be like MS or immunocompromised, or may have diabetes or other health conditions, COPD, that are keeping them isolated. One of the biggest reasons that kind of surprised us, as we've been doing this for a while, one of the big reasons why people join us is they are actually caregivers, generally for a spouse, or for they're isolated themselves because maybe that spouse is immunocompromised or has cognitive issues or has to go back and forth to lots of treatments. So their time is very limited, or they have to self isolate themselves because of their spouse or the person that they're taking care of. And this is a great way. What they found with Thrive is, if their spouse, let's say, is at adult daycare for dementia, it's a way to get an hour or two of little socialization in. Or if they're self isolating because their spouse is immunocompromised, it's a way to get things done. So this is so it is people. Just to be clear, we're not in continuing care retirement communities coming from that industry. I really wanted to address the problem of people that can't afford to live there, choose not to live there, that still can be independent, but just have reasons why they might be isolated. So that's a little background on who we are. We are activity oriented. So everything that a member does at Thrive, generally, you're doing with other people all the time, right? So what we do is we arrange about a dozen to about 20 events every week. And those events are designed around, if you were, are the dimensions of wellness. So sometimes they're intellectual activities, sometimes they're spiritual, sometimes they're social or physical, or they might blend a lot of those things. And you can see we just have sort of a square there of some of the things that we've done in the past. For example, we have like monthly birthday parties that would kind of fit into the social. We do things like improvisational games, which is like, if you've ever watched like Whose Line Is It Anyway, where we might play do some of those exercises that might fall into like intellectual, playing things like walkabout mini golf or doing bowling. Those are kind of physical activities. So the activities vary. We have some people that come in and talk about particular topics. That Gifts of an Eagle actually was one of our members. Her father and grandfather actually worked with Disney in like making movies like wildlife movies with eagles and stuff like that. So there was a whole documentary produced about them. So it was really interesting. One of the really cool things that the group does, and a lot of the group at Thrive is really self-organized, as our members, because we've had members now for 3 years, and they have interests that they have from the physical world that they brought now into the virtual. We have a theater group, and they just put on a full production of A Christmas Carol during Christmas time. The theater was created inside of Horizon Worlds by Thrive members. They acted it out, changed all their avatars, things like that. So this is a completely self-produced um, production of A Christmas Carol by entirely by Thrive members, including the virtual space as well. So this is kind of the activities that you'll do. So, and if you go to our website there, thrivepavilion.org, on the events tab, you'll see all the different things that we do. Um, today, surprisingly, we don't have much going on, but we have like karaoke nights and movie nights and just lots of different things depending on what people may be interested in. Because again, not everybody likes all the same stuff. What I'm actually going to do is this is really a great 2-minute video that was produced by Meta that really demonstrates how people find Thrive, get involved with it, and then participate. Interesting thing about Linda. This Linda really is, and if you ever meet her online, her name's Lynn Fisher. She's in a lot of different platforms, so you can run into her in VR chat, engage lots of different platforms. She's very active in VR space in general, Horizon Worlds. She's a real person, and this is her real story. And Linda was nice enough to open up her house for 2 days to Meta to film her, both in the headset and out of the headset, and tell her story. And also tell the story about Thrive. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you guys.
Life can be very difficult for older people who could be isolated. It's difficult to find people that you can connect with. I saw the Facebook page for Thrive Pavilion. The mission statement was to bring older adults together into VR to socialize. It said that they were meeting in Horizon Worlds on the MetaQuest. And I was like, that's for me.
Hey, Lynn. Hi, Linda.
People will be welcoming. Hi. They'll say, hey, come with us. Let's play.
Are you coming to bowling later?
We have bowling nights. Everybody has Forever Bowl.
Hey. Oh, look, there's a treasure chest.
You're in mixed reality. You see the bowling alley right in your room.
Nice strike.
It feels like you've invited a bunch of friends over to come and play.
They are too good.
They also have messenger chat, so you can connect with people that way.
Have you done improv before?
Because I'm interested in improv, I set up a couple of events. I call them improv games.
Leaping Linda.
It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of joking around and stuff.
Ripping muscles, Rob.
Lucky Lotto.
Meeting so many other people who are in the same place, it gives me a lot of comfort. You're not limited by your aging body. You can just go in there and have a good time.
Oh, that was fun.
So we have pretty active social media on Facebook and Instagram. That's how people find us. We're very active in other sort of Facebook groups that deal with aging adults. So, and particularly in VR. So that's how people will find us. A lot of older adults buy headsets. So it's not just, they view it. A lot of people will come to VR because they're interested in doing, let's say, exercise, or maybe they've heard of something like Wander and want to do like those sorts of applications. Some might have family or friends that are already using VR. But they'll find us because they're interested in like, well, what are older folk, what are aging adults doing in VR besides just doing games and things like that. So that's how they find us, and then ultimately join our Facebook group. We have very active messenger chats, and a lot of besides our organized activities. Uh, our members will self-organize things. So there's like a Monday night escape room club where they go and do escape rooms. There's a sort of a self-organized Friday and Saturday night movie club where they'll watch movies together. There are groups that, if you're interested in playing, let's say, walkabout mini golf or bowling or even other applications, even like things like Among Us or stuff like that, that might be outside of the social media or out of the metaverse platforms, where it's a great way to find people that have similar interests and then get together and spend some time with one another. So beyond just the things that we organize outside of the headset, we're providing a way for the community to communicate with one another. And quite honestly, probably 80% of the connection is being made there, and then people are sort of driven into the VR space. We even have a group of people that like to do like home crafts that have formed a crafters club, and they meet once or twice a month, talk about the different things that they're making, etc. So um, what's great is the organization really has become really self-organized and sort of self-run by the members, rather than for myself or my family to have to do everything. Lots of the activities now are just they're run by members because they've been around for a while. Enjoy doing lots of activities and even have brought the things that they enjoy doing in the physical world into the virtual world. So that's us. One of the slides that I was going to show, but since it's not coming up anymore, how we funded. So the way that we are funded by some corporate grants and donations, individual contributions, etc. And we're always looking for additional grants that align with, particularly in the area of aging adults and isolation, etc. So we are always looking for grants and opportunities to work with philanthropic groups and other NGOs or government agencies. And my membership, I don't know if it was there. Yeah, we have about 2,000 people now. So you can see that they care and want to, a couple of questions, and I'll open the floor up to questions. But the two that I get most often is, um, like how long has our retention been? So we've had members that have been with us all 3 years. And when you look at how much time some aging adults will spend in the headset, they will spend hours a day inside of a headset because it is the way that they're getting a vast, significant amount of socialization is actually now in virtual spaces. So the retention of the particular demographic or age demographic is really, really huge in terms of how long they've been using it and how long let's say their average session is. But I appreciate having the opportunity to talk with everybody. But I certainly will take questions if anybody has any questions. Happy to entertain them.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was a great presentation.
I
Thanks.
was gonna say, like, it might not be
Yeah,
a question, but I feel like seeing what you're doing is really filling a need that a
yeah.
lot of people aren't really satisfied with, especially just being
Mm-hmm.
online. Forums and message boards only go so far, and I've
Mm-hmm.
recently been playing VR with my brother, and we've had that same connection where he also lives in North Carolina, in and so I don't really get to see him very often. So
Mm-hmm.
being able to talk to him and having that feeling of presence has been really
Mm-hmm.
great. Um, do you have any I mean, I think that what you're doing is more than enough, but do you have any like long-term goals for the project that you have on the horizon if you have like enough funding? Like what would your dream shot be?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, I'd love for the community to be operating almost 24/7. So right now, we're kind of limited in how much we can do and when we do it. So if with some more funding, et cetera, it would be we could take what we're let's say we have 2,000 people right now. We could take what we're doing and just really expand it into like you know more time zones. Because now we might have, let's say, bowling is at 8 p.m. Eastern time, but that could really be spread out, across multiple time zones so that people can do the activities when it's convenient for them. So it'd be very easy to just kind of scale up what our currently how it works. Ideally, what we'd like to do is start to partner with um, organizations that have already are working with aging populations,
Mm.
because it's something that can be easily replicated on for particular communities or organizations that already have population of aging adults.
That sounds really good. Sounds like my retirement plan.
Yeah,
Have you
for
had
real.
Yes.
events on Banter at all?
So we don't have any events on Banter. We are not. If we would have been able to watch Linda's video, um, so we use a couple different platforms. We definitely have events on Horizon Worlds. We use some third-party apps, like we have a good relationship with like Forever Games and Mighty Coconut. They have provided us some support. VR chat. We have not yet really explored Banter. I'm interested, very much interested in Banter, particularly because, and we do use Horizon Worlds. Obviously, that video was very meta focused because they made it. It was their money. They get to make the video the way they want. Um, I'm very interested in Banter because it appears on the horizon there's going to be more headsets from different manufacturers, and an agnostic platform is like Banter could be interesting. So we're not definitely opposed to it. Just really haven't. And I keep meaning to reach out to the Banter folks. Just haven't done that
I'm
yet.
sure they're more than glad to help you. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Barry, hey, how you doing? I recognize your face anywhere.
Yeah, I know. I brought it over with me. Um, I was just going to I just wanted to mention that I think Banter is a really unique place for creation. And
hmm
as you know, I'm 73, and
hmm
I'm dealing with a 95-year-old mother, and I've sort of got the whole seniors thing kind of figured out, but I
hmm
just haven't admitted that I'm a senior yet.
hmm
Um, so I'm I'm still working
Nice.
on ways to incorporate what I'm doing in real world with
mm
what's happening in Banter, which it was a lot harder before in Horizon. So now I'm straddling both
hmm
sides of it. But I think
mm
Banter is there's a lot of people here who will be willing to help once you're ready
hmm
to extend here,
hmm
because I know I'm really excited about being able to do stuff with you guys here as well.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, it might be time for it for sure. Thanks. Anybody else?
Flutter, I see you raise your hand.
All right.
Well,
Well,
I do have
thanks
a
a lot.
I do have a thought. Um,
Sure.
um, I was just wondering what kind of content. Oh no, what kind of my headset's about today. I am
Uh
actually interested in making content for this demographic, and I was just wondering
oh.
what yeah. Is there an interest in new content that people
Yeah,
I
I
hear
mean,
they
there's.
like walk about, and yeah, I really like the idea of the theater that people put on
hmm
a theater production. I think that's amazing. So I
Yeah,
just yeah, that's my question.
there's lots of different content. So we bring
Yeah,
people in to do like discussion groups on topics
cool.
relating to aging adults. We do a lot of things that are educational. So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
helpful. But we things like we are actively building like a mahjong world inside of Horizon Worlds right now.
Oh,
So that's a type
yeah,
of
yeah, that's
like a
nice.
type of
That's nice.
content. Um, and even it's surprising. A lot of people even still like the shooting games, but certainly like puzzle
Oh,
games.
totally.
Like you're probably familiar with like puzzling places and things like that. Things that are
Yeah.
engaging sort of intellectually, but also socially is really, I'd say that those
Yeah.
are the things that are the best, even if it's,
Right.
leans more towards games or whatnot. But those are probably the things where there's some intellectual stimulation and then also the social aspect tends to be the
Perfect.
content that they use the most. And
That's
again,
what I
that's
thank you.
being
That
very
answers.
general. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right. But that
Hmm.
helps. Yeah, thanks.
Sure.
So where are you out of? You're hosted
So
where?
I'm actually based in North Carolina, the United States. A lot of our
Okay, I
activities
didn't
are
know why
based on
there's
the Eastern
University of
time zone.
South Australia on your slide.
Oh, yeah. So why does it say the University of South Australia? So
Yeah.
they're actually doing
Good
a
question.
study of Thrive. So some
Oh,
of these
cool.
statistics, some of these numbers come from the study that they're doing. They're looking at
Oh,
like
okay.
the efficacy of Thrive in terms of how it makes people, what people feel that if is it improving their and I can't show you the slide unfortunately because it's not working, but so the research is like showing that about 85% of our members agree that that participating at Thrive has improved their overall well-being. That's just one of the things that we've seen out of it. Let me see if there's another statistic out of here. That's probably so, because obviously we started it with a hypothesis that this would help people emotionally and potentially physically. So we just kind of quantify that as overall well-being. Even anecdotally, I'm sure Barry will attest to this. People have made real friends, and then they meet at Thrive and go on and do other things outside of Thrive. Virtually, we've even had people that have been reasonably close to one another, and then have even visited each other physically as well. So, and there's always drama. We've
That's
even
cool.
had romantic type of relationships form there as well. So, I mean, it's like real life. I think, as we all know, it
Wow.
really
Yeah.
can. It can. The virtual world mimics the physical world.
I really enjoyed that, and I want to thank you, Robert, for sharing everything. You don't have to leave. The event officially ends in 10 minutes, but if you guys want to talk and hang out and talk about it, then that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have to
Thank
go
you.
before my headset
Okay,
goes
goodbye.
out. Okay. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you.